I spent $150 million on beating Biden, and then all of a sudden I hear that they're going to overthrow him. It was a coup. I mean, 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 it really was.
I ain't going nowhere, bitch. I ain't going nowhere.
I don't get these questions from the fake news.
Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell's been asking
Like
this.
Deface the Nation. They have the woman on Brennan. She's on Deface the Nation. She was terrible with the way she handled J.D. Vance, who did a great job the other night.
He did do a great job.
But I don't get questions like that. Did you ever hear of the show? Deface, ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. It's called Face the Nation. They hate me.
Yeah, he loves his little jokes. It's called Defaced. It's called Face the Nation. But you see what I did there? I call it Deface the Nation. Oh, he loves God, his little jokes, man. Explaining his joke.
They spend millions of dollars.
They would name a show that?
Oh God. Oh, gross. 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 That's gross. Glaze! You did not think it's that funny. You did not think it's that funny. God damn. Have some self-respect, dude. You got some cummies in that mustache. Wipe it off, Andrew.
Oh, I see. You didn't hear of it. That's good. They spend millions of dollars on the name CBS. Yeah. And then I come along and I say it's Face the Nation.
Okay, he's still explaining it. Come on.
Yeah.
Or Meet the Fake Press. Meet the press.
You're good at this.
I say Meet the Fake Press.
Yeah.
Oh, he thinks this is genuine. Trump is reading this as genuine enthusiasm. Oh God. This is so stupid. It's like, wow, tell me more, Mr. President.
Spend all this money, and then I say it once, and it goes to millions of people. Yeah. But no, they are fake. But some of these questions are much better.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored.
Much better.
You still haven't answered, though.
That was the best dodge of a question.
That's your second best dodge in your life.
You almost charmed us out of it.
Trying to get out of it.
All right, fair enough.
Well, look, if you look at assassinations or attempts, first of all, you realize I'm in a very dangerous business.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because 1/10, think of this, 1/10 of 1% of auto races die.
Yep.
Bull riders, I think that's pretty dangerous, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, but I think I wouldn't want to be on one of those suckers.
No. Yeah.
I see them flying off and the hoof is like an inch from the eye, and when it hits the eye, you're gone,
Game
right?
over. Yeah.
And they are very, well, it's about the same. 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah.
They're laughing at him, not with him. He's reading it as they're laughing with him. But the real reason why they're laughing is because they're laughing thinking about their bank accounts, okay? They're like, oh my God, we got a fucking softball interview with Donald Trump. We are going to do such insane numbers, okay? Which they did. 2 million views in a matter of a 24-hour time frame. It's pretty good.
And other things. It's never much more than that. That's sort of maxed out, I think.
Yeah.
Race car drivers, bull riders, I think that's pretty much tough.
Yeah.
UFC fighters, it's none. I don't think anyone's ever actually...
Not in UFC. In MMA or boxing,
Maybe.
unfortunately,
It must
there was
be.
those tragic events. Yeah.
Amazingly, boxers die a lot. But UFC, Dana tells me it's a safe sport. I say, to me, it's much rougher. But, it's pretty amazing. They've never, in UFC, they've never lost. And they run a great operation. Nobody's died. But with presidents, it's like a substantial percentage.
Way higher than we
When
realized.
you look at Lincoln and Kennedy and this and that. I mean,
attempts,
you go
Reagan.
through McKinley.
Yep. Garfield.
You look at a lot of people. I'm in a very dangerous
business.
profession.
Yeah.
I call it a profession.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a dangerous profession.
I like that.
I'm sitting with you guys. You have a very nice, safe life. Me?
Yeah.
So, no, if you said 5%.
I think he called us soft.
No,
Yeah,
but think
I'm fine
of
with
it.
that.
Yeah, but think of it, 5%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's high.
That's a lot. And
I think even the attempts is something like
Attempts?
25%
Yeah.
of
attempts
presidents have had
is getting into really
crazy.
numbers. So people don't think of that. You run and you see, and then you win, and you're down Pennsylvania, and you're looking at everything. So you're in a
That's the danger
dangerous
starts,
profession.
yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I was saying before, though, that, I do a thing called a weave. Yeah. And there are those that are fair that say, this guy is so genius. And then others would say, oh, he rambled. I don't ramble. If I start a story, what you do is you weave things and you do it. You have to have certain things. You need an extraordinary memory because you have to come back to where you started.
Yes.
A weave is only good if you come back.
They don't give you credit for that.
Yeah, it's true.
That you could go all the way over here and then
I
get
can
back.
go so far here or there, and I can come back to exactly where I started. Now, someday when you don't come back to where you started,
You're Biden.
then you say, no, but the weave is the way. When you're telling like a story, I was telling a story at a rally the other day in front of thousands of people, and I started off, and then
You were weaving them
something in the story, I actually mentioned Air Force One. It was Air Force One was there, so I mentioned Air Force One, and then I said how I got $1.6 billion off the price of Air Force One. So, but then you have to come back to the story. Where was Air Force One taking you? So anyway, I do a weave. I call it the weave. And some people think it's so genius, but the bad people, what they say is, he was rambling. Yeah. It's not a ramble. There's no rambling.
This is a weave.
This is a weave. I call it the weave. Good name. I'm not sure. That's another name. We had fake news. We came up with lots of names. Yeah. But the weave is, I think we should make the weave a part of that stable.
Yeah, you really weaved right answering my question twice.
That's brilliant.
So
I don't even want to know the answer anymore.
Yeah,
I want you to keep weaving.
I lost interest.
We'll weave back. Let's weave back to his question. Because this is where it started. So
I'm not gonna lie. I don't even think he's dodging the question expertly. I think that's just how his brain works. I don't even think he's like demonstrating expertise. I think he's just a rambler. Dude, nah, you just can't comprehend the weave. Dude, listen. I am reminded of the time when Trump did a Michigan rally, which was supposed to be a town hall, with Sarah Fuckabee Sanders, and a UAW worker came on stage. This was a couple weeks ago. UAW worker very clearly asked a question that is a layup for Donald Trump. Mr. Trump, how will you help the auto industry? Mr. Trump's answer, like right out the gate, was nuclear warming. Nuclear war. There is no discernible, decipherable reason for why Donald Trump dodged that question. He wasn't weaving. He's just that guy. He's just like that.
weave back to us. I sort of hate answering it because I don't want to give any false identities. I don't want to do anything having to do with creating
You literally explain it in the same way, right?
proliferation, which is a very big problem, bigger problem than global warming, a much bigger problem than global warming in terms of the real world. That would be a great thing.
But just insane how his mind works.
Of justice.
And you know exactly how his mind
father's
works
devil.
because there's zero filter. And when I say zero filter, I don't mean like Trump is a truth teller, like he's unfiltered. I mean literally he does not process what is coming out. Like words, it's like a word cloud. Donald Trump is literally like a word cloud machine. Okay? He's just like, smart. I am smart. I read books. Cognitive ability. I'm the best. Russia is good, but also bad. Who cares?
Do you read your written brief?
I do. I read a lot.
I wasn't a baby, dude. It's the same mic, but a different condenser. That's it. God damn. Shut up, chat.
Something that isn't there. You would look at Iran. Iran has an open threat out for me, and that's bad. And Biden, if he were a real president, if he were
Back when my boy was broke, now we up. Yep. All the way up.
the kind of guy he should be, should say, if anybody shoots a former president who's now the leading candidate, even though he's leading against Democrats, we will bomb that country into oblivion. And it would stop. And that's been said before with some people. You know, there have been people, I won't go into it, but there have been people that have been threatened in another party even. In the same party, it makes sense and probably happens pretty quickly. But in another party, it's hard for them to
cross the
to
line.
want to protect me.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be hard. Other people have protected other people. And what you have to inform those people is if they do it, the country will be blown to smithereens. The entire country will be blown to smithereens. And those threats go away because that's a really bad threat for a country. Forget about me. I'm an individual. But I represent something very important. It's true. That's a really terrible threat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are others that could be in that category. Look, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China at a level that no president took in anything. I had tariffs on China, took in hundreds of billions of dollars. They're still there. That without me, they wouldn't have those tariffs on. So you could say, but no, I think Iran would be the one.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second because we got to shout out the great.
It was tough with other countries, but I got along very well with them. But, we were like a pussycat. We were ripped off by every nation in the world. And some of the worst rippers were our so-called allies, people countries that we supposedly get along with, but they're the ones that took advantage of us on trade at a level like, I mean, I ended some of the dumbest trade deals I've ever seen and made them much better for the country. I mean, what difference does it make? I took a terrible trade deal, would make it a good trade deal. But like Japan, I redid the trade deal. South Korea, I did the trade deal. The deals. I went to Abe of Japan. I said, Shinzo, he was assassinated. He was as you probably know, he was incredible, great man. He was a great leader for the people. They loved him. I said, Shinzo, look.
They literally, no. After he got assassinated, the country was like, actually, that was good that happened, and we should listen to the assassin's demands.
We can't do this. The trade deal is so bad. We're friends, but I have to renegotiate the trade deal. And he said to me, I knew that would happen. I said, why did you know? Because you.
So a lot of people who hate the country they're in to have their country destroyed. Smart sounds like a way to give crime lords sway over the country. Do this or else. What? I can't even tell. When people write like this, I can't tell if it's like a hog or like a democratic hog.
You're right. It's so one-sided.
Wow.
It's like he said, I knew you'd catch us. But they went through many presidents where Japan was, as an example, they'll send us millions of cars. We're not allowed to send them any. They send us their farm product. We were sending them practically nothing. It was like a one-way. Everything was one way. And by the way, virtually China was the worst, but there were many countries almost as bad. The European Union was almost as bad, in my opinion. It sounds nice. Oh, the European Union is so nice. They were ruthless in their trading. And I said to Angela Merkel, how many Chevrolets do we have in the middle of Berlin? Why? I don't believe any. I said, you're right. And yet we take in all of that. We take in Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and we take in all of this Volkswagen. We're taking in all of these millions and millions of cars. I say, how many American cars are in the middle of Munich or Berlin? And the answer is none. And I had things change around. So, you could say, I think that the answer would be, at this moment, Iran. And I think they could catch him. And if we had a real president, which we don't have a real president. We have a man that is grossly inept. And it's very dangerous because these guys are all at the top of their game. When you talk about President Xi and you talk about any one of the leaders in the world, Macron, and he's a smart guy. He's all for France. I mean, he would take the shirt off your back if you didn't know what you were doing.
So when you're with these guys, are these guys all sharks?
Yeah.
And you can sense the energy immediately?
Yeah, not all of them, but some of them aren't sharks in terms.
How are you assessing personality?
Victor
well,
Orban. That's my goat.
I can tell you, like
Great.
Modi, India.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine. He's great.
India.
He's the nicest.
India. This is for you.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you. Do you like him or not?
Yeah.
Do you like him?
I have family on both sides of it.
Okay,
I have
well,
family
let me
that
tell
loves
you.
everything and family
I'll just
that's
tell
not.
you, though. You need him. I know. Well, they had, before him, they were replacing him every year. It was very unstable. He came along.
He's in a lot of
He's
infrastructure.
great. He's a friend of mine. But on the outside, he looks like he's your father. He's the nicest, total killer.
What do you think of Modi? I don't know. What do you think I think of Modi? Indian Adolf Hitler? Yeah, no, I don't like him. Yeah, no, not a fan.
Because I asked him,
Yeah.
we're talking, they did a thing called Howdy Modi in Houston, Texas.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they filled up the stadium. It was me and him.
Yeah.
We filled up the stadium. It was beautiful. Like,
No matter how many so sorry videos I watch where they draw them all cutesy and shit, still Indian Adolf Hitler. Not a fan.
80,000 people was going crazy. And we're walking around today. Maybe I wouldn't be as, maybe you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But we're walking in the middle, waving to everybody. Anyway, but we have a very good relationship. He's the nicest human being. But we had a couple of occasions where somebody was threatening India. I said, let me help. I'm very good.
I actually really wanted to hear your thoughts on his uneven trade deal comment with the EU. He's talking about, I think he's talking about NATO security contracts that he re-examined, that where he demanded that like NATO nations give more, like put more money in themselves and not simply rely on American defense. And that's it. And basically what ended up happening is, after considering that as the most anti-NATO position you could arrive at, the Democrats followed through on that. They never even changed that policy.
Good with those people. Let me help. I will do it. I will do it. And I will do anything necessary. We've defeated them for hundreds of years.
Wow.
He was talking about a certain country. Okay?
Yeah.
You can probably guess the country.
Yeah.
Can't fathom which.
You know the country.
Yeah.
But I said, whoa, what happened there? What happened? So, no, they're all tough and they're all smart. And some are very good people. He's a good person. There's some are good people and some aren't good people. But they're all at the top of their game. And we have her, who is now more important than him, I guess, although he's still president of this country. And we're talking about nuclear war. And he's not capable. He doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah.
He said yesterday when they talked about should they hit Iran's nuclear, no, you shouldn't do that. I said, no, it's sort of just the opposite. Because the nuclear is the biggest threat we have in the world today. It's not global warming where the oceans are rising 1/8 of an inch in the next 500 years.
Right.
The threat that we have, the biggest threat is nuclear war.
Yeah.
You seem
Because-
concerned about that.
I am because it only takes one. I am.
Very true.
There are 5 countries now that have capability, and soon they'll have more. And we shouldn't let there be more. And I was at a point very good, despite the
Yeah, which is why I ripped apart the Iran denuclearization agreement. That was Barack Obama's signature foreign policy accomplishment, simply because Israel wanted me to do so. Like, I shit on Barack Obama quite a bit. That, unironically, was his signature foreign policy accomplishment. That and normalizing relations with Cuba. And Donald Trump came in and was like, Israel doesn't like this. I'm cutting it out. And it's so funny that, like, yeah, that deal took years to make. Yes, it is a deal that that had European partners working on it for decades. And he was like, yep, nope, fuck that. Why are you pro-Iran not having deterrence? I'm on board with normalizing relations with Iran if they don't build nukes. That's fine. Like, ultimately, I don't have an issue with Iran having nukes. Okay, I know that this is going to come across as like a fucking crazy thing for me to say. In this day and age, if you want to be a sovereign state, you got to have nukes. You know, this is the Hasan Abi nuke doctrine. Okay, same goes for Ukraine. Big fuck up for Ukraine. Giving up the nukes. Don't give up the nukes. Do I got to run the Hasan Abi doctrine back? The reality is no one should have nukes. Okay? No one. But in this day and age, you give up the nukes, you're fucked. You don't have nukes. You literally just said you didn't want him to have them. So nice save with the Hasan Abi doctrine. Yeah, I'm saying that if it meant stopping your nuclear program, that would have inevitably normalized relations with Iran for the rest of the world instead of crippling sanctions, and Iran said yes to it, then yeah, I'm on board. That's it. What do you want me to do? Behave like a fucking Redditor and be like, excuse me, Ayatollah, you're making a you're making a big mistake, sir. You should continue with your nuclearization program. Like, the fuck?
The Russia hoax. It was a total hoax, and we were totally exonerated and everything else. I could have told them that the first day, but that causes, a lot of problems.
Yeah.
A lot of problems, and they're a big nuclear power. We were close to a deal for getting rid of nuclear weapons. It would be so good.
For
Now-
all countries or just Russia?
We were talking about Russia, ourselves, and China,
Oh, wow.
and we would then bring everyone else into it. And
So you all
I also personally think like Israel, again, demonstrating hubris. Again, Israel thought they could just keep assassinating everyone that is a part of the Iranian nuclear program, and even others who are not even a part of like enriching uranium or whatever. And that is the way that they would be able to stop Iran from developing nukes, developing nuclear warheads. Now that might be wrong. That might prove to be wrong. If you ask the American State Department, they say Iran is 3.5 seconds away from having a nuke every goddamn week. So yeah, I think that diplomacy would have probably been a better way to do it. But the reason why the reason why Israel didn't want it is because they don't want normalization with Iran. Okay, they do not want any normalization with Iran whatsoever. And that is precisely the reason why they told Barack Obama, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? That's why Benjamin Netanyahu came and spoke in front of the U.S. Congress when Barack Obama facilitated the Iran denuclearization agreement.
strongly.
You all would get rid of your nuclear capabilities.
Denuclearize, yes. We were going to get rid
Totally
of
denuclearized.
nuclear because it's too powerful.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
My uncle, Dr. John Trump, was
Country doctor.
Yeah, Dr. John Trump. Well, he was a nuclear doctor, actually. He was at MIT. He's the longest-serving professor at MIT. He passed away, great guy. He was a brilliant guy, a brilliant scientist. And he used to tell me, he said, a long time ago, he'd say, Donald, someday it's very dangerous. Somebody will be able to carry a small briefcase into a building in New York and blow up the entire city.
Oh, wow.
I said, you gotta be kidding me, Uncle John. That will never happen. He was like a really brilliant guy. He was there for, I think, 41 years. He's the longest serving professor in the history of MIT.
Oh, wow.
So when I understand physics and when I understand things well, they say, how come there's good genetics. I'm a believer. Are you guys believers in that? Were your parents funny? Were they comedians?
Yeah, my mom's.
Oh my God, he's gonna do this is my favorite Trump take. This is one of my favorite rare Trump takes, okay? He's gearing up for it. He's gonna say, because his uncle is so brilliant, he's also brilliant. But he doesn't want to say it directly. So he's just being like, oh, you're funny, right? Your parents are funny. That's me and my uncle. Osmosis. It's in the genetics. It's in the genes.
Side was is Scottish and
Fellow Scottish, yeah.
Oh.
the Scottish women tend to be.
My mom.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
And she was great.
Which is that where you get your humor
Yeah,
from?
well, I'll tell you what. England at the time, they fought them for 1,000 years trying to get them under tow. They couldn't
England, as they call it.
do it.
Couldn't do it.
They're very tough. That reminds me of my mother, come to think of it. Now, my mother was a
That's so funny to fucking make the Scottish come out to be like Irish. Like, no disrespect to the Scots that despise England, but like, historically speaking, I don't think that the Scottish behaved in a similar fashion to the Irish.